Torpedo Barracks, 9,000. Swallow Cliff, 50,000. Straw Gorge, 57,000.
Save our lives. Oh God, control the soldiers in Nanking tonight.
Blinding moment, I saw the fragility of human life.
Nanjing, we did not commit any massacre there in 1937.
Japanese troops engaged in a campaign of murder, rape, looting, and arson that was so barbaric, a British reporter compared them to Attila and the Huns.
I found my older sister lying on table.
How old was she?
15 years old, without any clothes on, and with blood beside her.
Had she been raped?
Yes.
Because you don't know who in some future time in some other country reads this book and says, no, not me, I'm not going to let this happen in my country.
I didn't want the story to just disappear. I didn't want all those thousands of people's lives to vanish into oblivion. That's why I wrote it.
Since this is the only university campus in the U.S. that has a memorial to remember all the Holocaust and genocides, I would like to have it on every campus, every university.
Every university?
Yes. Why not? To remember all the genocides and Holocaust. Oh, the Opium War.
Opium War.
Yeah, that's a different story. I don't think I want to go. I'm not going to go into that.
You don't want?
No.
Not interesting?
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Trees are shining, and the world is calmly reclining. Here's no more freeze and cries. Now the time for greetings arise. I feel breeze caress my hair, all the leaves dance in the air. Do my arms reach to the rainbow, so far away and high from sorrow? Truth is you, and truth is love. When life goes every night and every day, for everywhere I stay. Truth is you, and truth is love. We're not alone and all my life and dream about. Truth is you. Truth is you. Truth is you. I feel breeze caress my hair, far away and high from sorrow. Truth is you, and truth is love. When life goes every night and every day, for everywhere I stay. Truth is you, and truth is love. Where my belong and all my life and dream have bound. Truth is you. Truth is you. Truth is you. I hear you calling my name. Sam, yours, not the one to blame. Answer the lie could afford. Hear the word, oh my Lord. Truth is you, and truth is love. When my life goes every night and every day, for everywhere to stay. Truth is you, and truth is love. When I'm alone and all my life and dream have gone. Truth is you. Truth is you. Truth is you.
I majored in journalism after switching my major from math and computer science because I figured that would be one of the best ways to see the world and to gain an apprenticeship in the art of gathering facts and writing quickly. And I had observed that many of our most respected writers of our time started off actually in journalism.
Paula Kamen, who was Iris Chang?
Yeah, Iris Chang was most known for her 1997 bestseller. That was the book, The Rape of Nanking.
Was she a historian?
She was both a historian and a journalist.
What kind of relationship did you have as friends?
Yeah, at first I didn't know what to make of her, that she was always many steps ahead of me. That there was very few internships, and every time there was one, she would get it. You know, she had the idea to write for the New York Times as the U of I correspondent. She just called them up, and soon she had stories in the front section of the New York Times. You know, and we're thinking, who does that? You know, just what to make of her. But then I was her editor there, and I saw just what real talent backed up this incredible nerve.
Of world history is the Rape of Nanking. All human beings are capable of committing these kinds of atrocities, not just the Japanese or the Germans. I think all human beings have this capacity for great evil if put under the right social and political circumstances. The Rape of Nanking was something that always could happen, and it did happen, and we have to learn from history if we want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I grew up hearing stories about Japan invading China and Chinese people being massacred by Japanese soldiers in Nanking. But I didn't know all the...
100 conference, and really excited to be here.
That was over at the Waldorf?
Waldorf Astoria.
Yeah, that's an important organization, I think.
Yes, yes. It's a prominent organization of Chinese Americans who are committed to human rights and also promoting understanding between China and the U.S.
Great, great, great. Well, the book is great. Welcome, welcome very much to Conversations, where it's a great personal honor to welcome and pleasure to welcome to the program Iris Chang. And Iris Chang and I met some years ago when she was engaged in, if I may show, writing a book that became a bestseller, a New York Times bestseller, that being with the paperback edition. That was called The Rape of Nanking, which people will, is still in the bookstores, I guess?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely still in the bookstores, and it was a discussion.
If you wish it.
You said you're actually going to be speaking. Well, it's certainly wonderful to be back here. I have a couple of good friends who just...
There have been several books on the Nanking Massacre in Chinese, and there's some in other languages as well. So the answer is yes. There had just not been one that had been easily accessible in the English language until my book came out. But the information was always there. I mean, when I did the research for the Rape of Nanking, I unearthed primary source documents on the subject in 4 different languages: German, English, Japanese, and Chinese, like in terms of government reports and diaries, war crimes tribunals, transcripts, and it was always there, available to the public, but somebody had to dig for it. And there had been some scholarly books, mostly I think in Chinese, but they weren't very well known, definitely to the world public.
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't think I would write books until I was well into old age. And so I majored in journalism after switching my major from math and computer science, because I figured that would be one of the best ways to see the world and to gain an apprenticeship in the art of gathering facts and writing quickly. And I had observed that many of our most respected writers of our time started off actually in journalism.
My name is Sharon Hoshida, and I work as the program director at the UCSB Women's Center. And we are very pleased to be co-sponsors with Arts and Lectures and the UCSB Bookstore for this evening's program.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's such an honor and a privilege to be part of this lecture series.
The expert witness you will hear from now is a renowned author of the national bestseller, The Rape of Nanking. Please state your name.
Iris Chang.
What reference materials will you be drawing upon in your testimony?
The reference materials come from my book, The Rape of Nanking.
Then China's capital city, Nanking, in the late 1930s. 2 decades passed. Iris graduated from the University of Illinois and went on to earn a master's degree at Johns Hopkins. She married her college sweetheart and published a biography on the scientist who developed China's missile program. Then in 1994, Iris attended a conference in Northern California on Japanese war atrocities and saw poster-sized photos of Nanking victims, mutilated and tortured bodies, rape victims forced into pornographic poses, faces contorted into unforgettable expressions of terror and shame. Iris finally saw with her own eyes what her parents had told her about, and she found herself in a panic born in the fear that the massacre would forever be just a footnote in history, or even worse, just as some would have us believe that the Holocaust against Jews never happened in Nazi Germany, that some Japanese politicians continued to deny the carnage that took place in Nanking. Fortunately, Iris Chang's book, The Rape of Nanking, The Forgotten Holocaust of World War II, is making that denial hard to fathom.
It's a great honor to be here, and I want to thank all of you for coming here to learn about a side of World War II history that some of you may be hearing about for the first time.
Paula Kamen, who was Iris Chang?
Yeah, Iris Chang was most known for her 1997 bestseller. That was the book, The Rape of Nanking. And it did huge things to raise awareness about Japanese atrocities during World War II. And that was not only in Nanking that she wrote specifically in great detail about the massacre there, but it raised awareness about atrocities throughout Asia. So it became a whole movement rather than just a book in the late 90s.
Was she a historian?
She was both a historian and a journalist.
What kind of relationship did you have as friends?
Yeah, at first I didn't know what to make of her, that she was always many steps ahead of me, that there was very few internships, and every time there was one, she would get it. You know, before I even thought of applying to it, she would have already gotten it. And that's how a lot of people on the college paper thought of her. She was always so far ahead of us. You know, she had the idea to write for the New York Times as the U of I correspondent. She just called them up, and soon she had stories in the front section of the New York Times. You know, and we're thinking, who does that? You know, just what to make of her. But then I was her editor there, and I saw just what real talent backed up this incredible nerve, and I decided to try to emulate her instead of seeing her as a rival. And yeah, through the years, both of us wrote books, and we were both sounding boards, and she became a huge role model of what it meant to be a successful author.
Iris Chang, The Rape of Nanking, gets its premiere in Toronto on Monday. And the actress who plays Iris is Olivia Chang. She is with me now in studio. Olivia, you watch some of those images. They're horrific. But, I still don't understand really what happened. Can you help me to do that?
Definitely. I think to put it in context for you and other people who don't know much about Nanking, a lot of us know, of course, during World War II that 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. But a lot of people don't know that about an estimated 18 to 30 million Chinese were also killed during the same period in World War II by the Japanese Imperial Army. And the way that Auschwitz represents and it is kind of the dark symbol of the Jewish Holocaust, Nanking represents and is the dark symbol of the Chinese Holocaust. And Nanking itself, what happened was 300,000 citizens were systematically raped, tortured, and executed over an 8-week period.
The chronicle of humankind's cruelty to fellow humans is a long and sorry tale. But if it is true that even in such horror there are degrees of ruthlessness, then few atrocities in world history compare in intensity and scale to the Rape of Nanking. These are the writings of the late author Iris Chang, who shined a spotlight on a dark period of Chinese history, when Japanese troops slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Chinese and raped tens of thousands of women in just 6 weeks.
一本著作揭露了日军2战期间犯下的滔天罪行，真相大白，世人震惊。一位开朗乐观的美籍华裔女作家，为何在事业正盛时突然自杀了？1937年12月13号。 南京屠城，生灵涂炭。2014年12月13号，国家公祭，祈愿和平。稍后您将看到，他是正义天使，一部著作轰动整个世界。张纯如如流星般璀璨的生命，与南京城紧紧相连。
And now, a news update. Early this morning, the body of writer and human rights activist Iris Chang was discovered in her parked car off the interstate highway near San Jose, California. The 36-year-old author was best known for her book, The Rape of Nanking, which described the mass slaughter of Chinese civilians by the Japanese Imperial Army in 1937. The internationally acclaimed bestseller was the first major work in English about the massacre. Chang, who had been suffering from depression, died of a gunshot wound, the victim of an apparent suicide.